All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our infrastructure sync. Infrastructure has been improving a lot lately, thanks to Leo and everybody else's help. So Leo, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you start out with any updates we have on the infrastructure side.
Yeah, I think that there is no too many updates. In the weekend, I was working with creating a development environment to test infrastructure import that was not declared from the beginning in the Terraform project. So after that, I updated the repository. I still don't have this. I still don't have pushed it to GitHub because it's not finished. But the repository now has the full resources we are, including the status pages and the another the blog importing project. And also today we have this CNAME record. So we have this blue-green option working right now. I think it was not much complicated. It was just a CNAME record in Cloudflare, and it's now pointing to this test A environment. And apart of that, I think that there are no many updates. I am aware that we have to create now all the volumes with 1 terabyte of data. So I will update that also. And yeah, I think that's all for now.
Cool. And can you just refresh my memory on the different environments we have right now, and which one is at which status of archiving Kusama?
We have 3 working environments right now. We have the test A, the test B, and they are working with the latest version, I think. Yeah. And also we have the diff environment that is using Serge, and that is, I think that he need to reset it today to test a couple of changes, I think. And yeah, I think that they are right now just those 3 working environments. All the other resources are for the blog archival and another resources that are more general use, like the Subspace.
Okay, so both test A and test B environments have all the latest images, the Docker images for the Subspace client and the and for the relayer.
Actually, test B has an older version of the node. It's not the latest one.
Do you want to reboot that with the latest, or should we keep that?
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. And test B is the one which is fully synced, and test A is the one which is still syncing over the network?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure how test A is syncing, but its progress is quite slow. I think there are some difficulties there. But test B is fully synced. Yeah.
Okay. And test A is the one that the website currently points to. It's the primary from the outside.
Yes, because that's the latest one. If someone wants to connect to it, that's what they should use.
Okay. Okay, so we're not going to be able to update the images. So test B, if we update the images, we're going to lose everything? Or can we do like a soft reboot of it?
I think it is slightly incompatible with the new images, so we need to restart it.
Oh, are we going to lose the archived history if we do that?
Yeah, it's like it's a different implementation of things, so it just would be able to pick up, I think.
Sorry, it would.
It wouldn't.
It would not. Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to be super clear here so we don't lose everything. Okay. So we're just going to have to be stuck with that old version until testnet A. Once we restart it, it resyncs, and then we can do another blue-green deployment at some point in the future to swap those out.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What is actually involved in doing the blue-green deployment? What does that process actually look like?
You have to just go to Cloudflare and change the target of the CNAME record, and Cloudflare made it pretty much fast. Take seconds and it's done. It's just that.
And before
You don't
that, you
have-
need to actually update the node, the one that is inactive. You need to like restart it or update it, whatever you want to do with it. And then you just
yeah.
switch the name.
The inactive node, you mean the one that's not being pointed to?
Yeah.
And that's testnet B in this case.
Right now, yes.
But you said we need to update the node?
If you want to do like a blue-green deployment, you take the inactive test B in this case, you update it to whatever version you want, and then you switch to it. If you just switch without upgrade, what is the point?
But when you say update, you're referring to specifically what are we updating?
Whatever, we can update the node, we can update relayer, we can reset everything, whatever we need.
But in this case, we said we're not going to do that. You just mean for next time?
I mean for the blue-green deployment. Like if there is no deployment on test B, we are not switching anything. If you do deployment, this is how we do it. We update the node and then we switch the name.
Okay, but we already have it deployed. I'm just talking about for the one.
It's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
It's already done.
Okay, I'll just make sure we're not updating anything this time. Okay. Okay. Cool. So it should take you like 5 minutes to update that, Leo, and then it just has to update in Cloudflare and then the DNS records. Actually, the DNS records don't even. Yeah, I guess the DNS would change. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's do that. Let's do that right after this call, and then can you notify? Just update on.
It's done.
It's done.
It's already
That's
done.
done,
It's already working.
Oh, well, so testnet B is the one that we're pointing to right now.
A.
No, we are pointing to testnet A because that's the newer one. That's what people can use. Test B is inactive one. It's not pointed to.
I'm so confused. I thought test B was the one that's fully synced.
It is fully synced, but it's not where we are pointing.
But that's the one we want to show for the press release, that the fully synced
We
archival
want to
history.
show, but you were also saying we want to give some people ability to test.
Yes, that's independent.
Kind of. Like we don't really want to take the main repository and change all of the documentation to point to some areas test B, whatever. We want to post to testnet, like the official one. That's why these two are kind of in conflict.
Okay. Okay. So in terms of those two, the priority is for the press release, not for the testers. Because we have spent weeks preparing this, and we need to show that it's working when it goes out. Yeah. So if we need to get people to test the testnet, we can let them test an alternate testnet. It doesn't have to be the one that is our primary testnet. We can let them test, in this case, test A, after we reboot it. Are we clear now? Okay. So we do need to go in and.
Yes, sorry, but just to confirm, after this meeting, we need to point to the B environment.
Yes.
Okay.
Guys, I'm changing it right now. It takes like 30 seconds. We are discussing it longer than it takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Done.
So all of the press releases say we are backing up the full history of Kusama and all the parachains from Genesis. So whatever testnet we have needs to do that. And it's done. So that's great. Okay. And then, so now test A is still accessible. It's just not so there's like a special URL that we can use to get into
it's just not the default. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And do we need to reboot test A since it's taking so long? Is there some issue there that we need to figure out?
We need to figure out why.
I was going to mention there's been massive Cloudflare issues. I'm not sure if that could affect that.
No, it's irrelevant.
Okay. So can someone be more specific as to what's going on right now with it? Is it's just taking a long time to sync, or?
I think Serge needs to just go and look what's happening there. Yeah, and we'll see.
Serge, do you have any ideas on what's happening there right now? Have you taken a look yet?
Let me check.
Okay. Are you checking right now, or are you just saying you'll do it later?
Yeah, I'll do it later after the
Okay.
call.
Okay. All right. Anything else on your side?
Did
Go ahead, Leo.
you or someone updated the CNAME record actually?
Yes,
No?
2 minutes ago.
It's working. So
Okay. Any other updates on the infrastructure side, Leo? Are there any other next steps
I
or
think that's
plans
all.
you have on the infrastructure side?
Yeah, I will share this environment, this new branch with the latest changes. So yeah, and just that, I think that there is not more to talk about that.
Okay.
It just contains all the resources, and it's just that.
And we're going to have 1 terabyte instances, or 1 terabyte volumes rather, on all instances going forward. How many actually have a 1 terabyte right now out of the 3 environments?
I'm listing.
Aries Dev has 1 terabyte.
Yeah, the Aries Dev, and all the others have 400. Yeah.
Okay.
On test B, I worked around the problem because we've already synced from archives. So I just deleted archives, and that freed quite a bit of space. So it's fine for a few weeks, I think.
Oh, because we're snapshotting the archives into the local volume.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Makes sense.
I actually moved it to like local drive. I didn't delete it, I think. So it's still accessible.
Okay. All right. And all of them are 4-core instances as well? Or are they different classes of instances for dev and test? Yeah.
So it
They
looks
are
like
all like dedicated, except the Aries Test B, that it was it has not been restarted. So
Right.
I cannot change it. I cannot scale because it has a different size on disk, and it like it doesn't let you scale.
We'll leave it for now. We'll update it at some point.
But
Okay.
I was curious if we should use in the dev environments like a shared machine, and in the test like the dedicated, or is all dedicated machines?
I think for now we should leave everything the same for simplicity.
Okay. Just that.
I know it's more expensive, but it's something we're just going to be able to eat that cost for a little bit until we get a more better kind of more composable infrastructure, which is not a huge priority right now.
I think that for the next restart of that test B, we can scale up.
Okay.
I have a question about all of that. You mentioned a few changes to the infrastructure. I haven't seen any pull requests. How is that happening?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have the updated, the latest status of the project.
Can you make it like a rule where you submit a pull request? If it's approved, you merge it and then you apply it, instead of having something locally or in a branch which doesn't represent the actual state?
Yeah.
which represent the actual state, but master doesn't really match the infrastructure, because it's confusing if we have, let's say, someone else forking from main and then changing something, they will apply reverse changes and it will break things. So it's usually better to first submit a pull request when it's like, if you want to test it before merge, okay, let's let someone review it, make sure it's synced to the main, then you can try to apply it and then merge right away after that. So it's like as close to the main as possible in terms of what we actually have.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions or comments for Leo? All right, Serge, do you have any updates on the Docker research for the relayer?
Yeah, let me share my screen. I've been playing with it today, and yeah, I created a separate branch for a relayer, and I have added a YAML file for the workflows for CI, which basically uses GitHub container registry to build and push images to. Yeah, and on the repository page, we now have these packages, and if we click, it will reference to our Docker image on GitHub container registry. So when I can try this one on our dev environment today.
A few
Any
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it? I saw in the workflow. Does it also build different branches, not only main? Is that correct?
Yeah, you can specify branches.
Right, but it also seems to build pull requests. Or am I reading it wrong? It says on pull request.
Okay, yeah, I will update it.
And let's use just subspace relayer. I don't think we need -gh on it.
Yeah, it's just so for this PR, I will remove it. Yeah.
Okay.
So I wanted to differentiate from the original container image.
Seems pretty good.
Anything else?
Great, thanks, Serge. So if we're using container registry for relayer, are we using that for the Subspace master or monorepo right now, or is that going to Docker Hub?
That goes to Docker Hub, and I'm building it because I have 24 cores and GitHub has 2. It will take forever on GitHub to build it.
But should we push it to container registry instead of Docker Hub so that we have like one place for all our containers?
I don't think it makes a big difference, honestly.
Okay. Just feels a little bit bespoke, like different container repositories for different repos in the same project.
I think that's fine.
Okay. All right. Anything else we want to talk about infrastructure? Any questions or comments or anything we missed?
With Liu-Cheng, we were fighting a little bit with Windows and the fact that it was running out of disk space when we were trying to build our subspace. I worked around it by removing CUDA libraries from the test build. So we're still running in Clippy to make sure it compiles, but we are not using CUDA in Windows builds when we are testing things. And I think we are slowly approaching a point where we do want to have dedicated workers, where we can have more cores, more disk space, more everything. Otherwise, it's just really difficult to build Substrate on GitHub Actions.
Okay, so
yeah,
go ahead, Liu-Cheng.
yeah, but I think it will like much harder to take care of all the platforms like Ubuntu, like Windows, like Mac OS.
So just for the background here, so I'm understanding we're talking about trying to get our, we're trying to use GitHub actions now to build binaries for Subspace monorepo in a cross-platform way?
No. Same thing that we had before, we are running tests.
Oh, this is just for tests?
Yes, and we are building tests. Basically, Liu-Cheng made a pull request where he split the node into library and node. And the node was about like 1 gigabyte, a binary in debug mode. So now we have 2 gigabyte files, one for library, one for the binary itself. It just exceeded the space we have available. Basically, documentation says that we have about 10 gigabytes guaranteed. In practice, it's more like 16, but it depends on what software is installed by default. Yeah, and we basically escaped that limit and we had problems. So I think it's just a matter of time when we'll have some other problems. And it's really also annoying to debug because you make some test changes and you wait for an hour to finish the run. It's very slow workflow.
Okay. And are we on the free plan right now?
Doesn't matter. They don't have any custom workers. I already talked to the support.
Okay.
They have GitHub Enterprise, which is like when they install GitHub on your infrastructure, and then they have configured some different workers for you. This is like basically they install on your infrastructure if you have special requirements. But for public, they don't have any custom versions. You need to bring something of your own. I saw Parity uses GitLab. Some of them, some projects use Azure pipelines. Some configure something else. Yeah.
Okay. What do you recommend?
No idea. I didn't do research.
Okay. And in the meantime, it's just going to take a long time for tests to run before PRs can get merged and approved.
It was like that for a while. It's just it got worse when we had that out of disk space error.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing a few runs yesterday, and only today I found a way to make it work.
But it's
like
like
every attempt is 1 hour basically.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Anything else? All right. I think we're good. Thanks, everybody. And we'll do our protocol sync in about 12 hours. We'll see everybody else then that applies to. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow for our next call. All right.
Sounds good. Have a good day, everybody.